Hey, for the intro this week, I was thinking right after I say the word story hole, do you guys just want to yell the scariest word you can think of?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Hi, welcome to Story Hole.
Meat.
Oh, sorry. Can we try? I wasn't ready for my prompt.
Okay, let's try it again. Hi, welcome to Story Hole.
Commitment.
I know, right? Hi, I am Roger's skeleton bones.
I'm Joey's ectoplasm.
I'm Kevin's throat. Just his throat this week.
Just a floppy throat.
Don't ask me
It's a
how.
it's a decapitation and a body-itation, and there's just the chunk in the
Yeah.
middle.
They just left the middle. Yeah,
That's the collar zone.
that must have been a terrible accident. Yeah.
I can wear turtlenecks though still, which is pretty great.
That's extra scary to me because that seems like a good cut of meat.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing I yelled was meat.
It seems like a big commitment to me.
No, double scary. What did you yell, Rod?
Just story hole. That's the scariest thing I could think of.
It's true. It's true. Just for this month, though. Next week is going to be tasty and family oriented.
Yeah, next week should be all delightful.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, next week we should do all stories about delicious foods. Yeah, all mashed potato
I
stories
would love
all
to do a
month.
potato themed podcast.
I've got some pretty powerful potato stories of my own
Guys,
that I'd like to share. So,
you know that next week isn't November, right?
no, next month. Do we say next week?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did.
Next month.
I mean, you can still eat potatoes next week if you wanted.
Yeah, there's no rule against it. There's no law against it, Kevin.
When the kids come around and they want tricks and or treats, I give them both by giving them a tasty potato.
That's perfect because that's a great treat. But man, yeah, what a disappointing candy, huh? Do you guys want to head back to the campfire?
Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
I'm freezing.
This month, in honor of All Hallows Eve, we're spending the whole month out in the woods sharing ghost stories and spooky tales.
This was a
with each
very
other.
fun idea at the start, but as we progressed through it, it kind of is a little chilly out here, even with the campfire.
Yeah, I should have brought a jacket.
Day 21 of living in the woods is pretty rough.
Yeah.
And I've been making all sorts of wilderness friends, like little squirrels and birds.
That's just a rock, Joey.
nice.
You're just holding a rock.
Roger, shut up. Shut up, Roger.
Maybe I'm losing it.
Hey, how should we measure how scary the stories are this week? We already measured by how many socks we scare off and how tingly our spines get.
How about how many heebie-jeebies you have and or how many candy corns are falling out your mouth?
Oh, I like the candy corns. Let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic to me.
We have to set a baseline though. This is kind of a scientific thing for us to really get it right. So how many candy corns can you fit in your mouth first off?
One or two.
42.
Let's just meet halfway between 2 and 42, which is 21. All right, so their scale is 1 to 21 candy corns.
Hey, I have a candy corn story. This is a mini story hole. There was one time after Halloween when our friend Brian and I were playing poker, and we just had a giant bag of candy corn that was left over from Halloween, and we were betting on the hands by putting in a pile of candy corn, and whoever lost the hand had to eat all the candy corn. And I kept losing every hand, so I had a massive pile of candy corn, and I was getting so sick from eating it all, but I didn't want to wuss out, so I was secretly, when Brian wasn't looking, spitting the candy corn from my mouth into the cuff of my pant leg and hiding them in there so he wouldn't know that I was wussing out.
Your pant leg?
Yeah.
I don't understand this. How was your body bending?
So we're sitting down, and there was cuffs on the bottom of my pants, so it was rolled up on the bottom to make a little pocket, and I was just spitting them into my pants pockets.
I call those corn cups. Roger, traditionally, you're very lucky when it comes to cards, I would say. Do you feel like that's... No?
Life, I feel like life works out for you. You find $50 bills on the floor every day as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
But game's a chance. You lose every time.
Yep. Like Joey, remember Joey and I one time were home by ourselves, and I don't remember whose idea it was, but we decided to play strip dice, where we both rolled a dice, and whoever got the lower number had to take off a piece of clothing. So it's just Joey and I sitting in the kitchen. And I lost what do you think? I lost maybe 15 or 16 in a row.
I took off a shoe, I think.
Yeah, you took off one shoe, and I was completely naked, just bare buns in the kitchen. The chances of that are insane.
I remember when you're in your very last thing, you're on your undies, and it was just like, I was like, man, all right, okay, close my eyes, and you were just like, you did it, and then you ran to the bathroom.
Yeah, because I was scared somebody was going to walk in, see me sitting naked in the kitchen.
Oh, man, no, that's so funny.
All right, should we get started?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Story Ghoul.
Wait, welcome to Gory Hole.
Oh yeah, welcome to Gory Hole. Hey, do you guys know where Halloween comes from?
Is there like a tree, I think?
No.
Remember for Christmas, I think all the holidays come from a tree.
My guess is Portugal.
It comes from the heart, guys. It comes from inside in the heart. But also, it comes from old pagan traditions of the Celtic people. Celts are the people that live in like England and Ireland, pre-Christianity, pre-Roman Empire, way back in the ancient world. And a lot of the things that are part of our Halloween today are rooted in those traditions from 2,000 years ago. For example, jack-o'-lanterns. There's an old legend that's told in Ireland from the earliest days of Christianity that explains the origins of the jack-o'-lantern and why it's important to carve them and leave them out on All Hallows Eve. It's the story of Stingy Jack. The legend begins with a man named Jack, and he's kind of the worst. He's a con man and a criminal. Never once his whole life did he help another person or do anything good. He just kind of wandered across Ireland, rolling into town and stealing what he could and manipulating people and tricking them into giving him money or food, and then just moving on before the victims of his cons could catch up to him. And eventually, rumors of Jack's bad attitude make their way down to hell. The devil hears about what a piece of shit he is. And the devil's stoked. That's the kind of guy that the devil can really get into, you know? So the devil plans to go up to Earth and meet Jack to see if he's really as bad as the rumors make him sound.
Rom-com.
It's totally a rom-com. The devil puts on his hunkiest human disguise, and he makes his way from the fiery pits of hell to go meet Jack on Earth. The devil finds Jack drinking in some pub in a small Irish town. And the devil walks in and he pulls up a chair next to Jack. And the devil's going to try to just play it cool. He doesn't want to come off too forceful. So he's going to, maybe just drop a hint or two and flirt a little and just see where the night takes him. So the devil starts chatting him up, just casually mentioning things like, wow, I sure do love taking advantage of good people. How about you, buddy? And just like classic devil pickup lines. But Jack's not having it. Jack sees through the devil's disguise pretty much right away.
Can't con a con man.
Yeah.
Also, personality mirroring, we all know that's a dated way of trying to hit on someone.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Do you guys think you could give the devil some dating advice?
You already got it crazy hot, baby. Just lean into what you do.
So maybe he shouldn't be wearing that human disguise. Maybe he should just come out in straight up devil form.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think Jack would see his true form, his true character. This guy's the ultimate con man.
Totally.
And now I want to be like him. I want him in my life.
I mean, that's good advice. You just have to be yourself, right?
Yes, be yourself.
Yeah.
I think actions speak a lot louder than words. So I think maybe he should show Jack some taking advantage of people and just kind of like play a con right in front of him and then be like, hey, I like your style, guy.
Pull the stool out at the bar from the next guy.
Yeah.
And then give it to Jack as a gift.
Take off his own thumb.
That classic con.
The ultimate con.
Yeah. God, I hope he gets it back on.
But Jack isn't impressed. He doesn't trust the devil. He recognizes that it's the devil right away. I'd imagine the devil's disguise maybe isn't that good. Maybe it's just like a Billabong shirt or something. But Jack doesn't trust the devil. He doesn't know what the devil's up to, but he's not going to give him an opportunity to pull a trick on him. Jack's the ultimate con man, and nobody's going to out-con him, not even the devil. But he doesn't let on that he sees through the devil's ruse right away. Instead, he just kind of turns on the charm and talks and laughs and flirts with the devil. And at the end of the night, the bartender comes up and says, hey, it's time to close out your tab. Pay for the drinks. And Jack reaches into his pocket to pull out his wallet, and you're not going to believe this, Jack forgot his wallet at home.
Oh.
This is super embarrassing.
Yeah.
Jack turns to the hunky stranger that he's been hanging out with, and he says, hey, maybe could you cover the cost of drinks for tonight? And, I promise that next time we go out, I'll cover you. And the devil's like, oh, of course, no problem. He's kind of excited that Jack wants to go out with him again. Except the devil doesn't have a wallet either. He doesn't even own a wallet. He's a demon. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of in a pickle. He's already said he's going to pay for it, but he doesn't have any money. So it's a really uncomfortable moment. But the devil has an idea. He can disguise himself as whatever he wants. He can take on any form. So what if he just turns himself into money and then uses himself to pay the tab and then transforms himself back into the devil when Jack isn't looking?
Yeah, so he's going to wander to the bathroom, turn into $1, and then just float over like the Forrest Gump beginning and land on the table.
I picture like a worm, like an inchworm, just like worming its way back to the bar.
Like a Grinch worm.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Like when he's slithering around.
Yeah, exactly.
He's creeping, crawling.
I imagine he's probably like, "Hey, what's that over there?" And then he turns into like a really too big of a pile of money.
just gold bars.
He has no concept of currency.
Yeah.
So he overdoes it. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much exactly it. He like distracts Jack and says, "Hey, look over there." And then he jumps up on the bar and turns himself into a gold coin. and this is perfect for Jack. He was planning on running out on the bill anyway. He wasn't going to pay for this. But now the devil has turned himself into a gold coin that's sitting right in front of him. So in one quick motion, Jack takes the golden coin and he throws it into his pocket and he slips out before the bartender can catch him. And the devil's like, what the hell's going on? All of a sudden he's in this man's pocket. But something's preventing him from transforming back to his devil form. Because the pocket that Jack put him in has another thing in it. Do you want to guess what it is?
It's a beautiful girl coin.
A cross.
It's a cross. Yeah, it's a crucifix. He had a rosary in his pocket. And that cross is pressed up against the devil in coin form and it nullifies his powers. So he's locked in this pocket prison. And Jack is just whistling as he walks down the path into the night while the tiny little voice of the devil yells from inside his pocket.
Pikachu!
Jack keeps him in there for weeks. He loves the idea that he's outconned the devil and he's keeping him in his pocket as kind of a trophy. And the devil, meanwhile, is getting pretty desperate. He hates it in there. It's stinky and it's hot. And he's got to get back down to hell. He's got work to do. So eventually he offers Jack a deal. He says, "Hey, if you let me out of this pocket, in return, I promise you for the next 10 years, no evil will befall you, no bad luck, no tragedies for a decade. And even if you die of natural causes in that time period, the devil won't come to take his soul down to hell." And to Jack, that's a pretty good bargain. He was getting tired of having that hot little coin in his pocket anyway, so he takes the deal and he sets the devil free, and the devil just instantly runs back down to hell. And for the next 10 years, Jack is just loving life. His crimes are even easier now that he's blessed from the devil's bargain, and he's just having a great time. And the devil doesn't forget. So for the next 10 years, he keeps tabs on Jack, counting down the days until the bargain is fulfilled. And on the day exactly 10 years from the original meeting, the devil comes back for Jack. He's not even going to wait for Jack to die now. He's just going to come up and drag his soul down to hell right away. But Jack's ready for him. Jack's cunning and he's very charming. So when he sees the devil appear down the path he's walking on, Jack walks straight up to him and greets him as an old friend. And he says he can't wait to get down to hell and spend eternity with the devil. And the devil's heart just melts. All the bitterness he had been feeling towards Jack for the last 10 years just fades away as Jack charms his socks off. And right before they're about to depart for hell, arm in arm, Jack stops for a second and says, "Hey, you see that apple tree over there? It'd be really great. What if we just take a moment before we head down to hell and grab some apples and just have a quick picnic first?" And the devil's like, "Hey, yeah, that does sound very nice." So Jack pulls out a blanket and lays it on the ground. And the devil starts to climb up the trunk of the apple tree to look for a couple of good, juicy apples that they can share. And as soon as the devil's about halfway up the tree, reaching to grab a real tasty one, Jack leaps to his feet and pulling the rosary out of his pocket, he quickly nails it to the tree. And the devil screams. He's been tricked again. He can't climb down the tree with the rosary on the trunk, so he's trapped up there again. This is like, it's the whole pocket thing all over again. And Jack is just standing at the base of the tree loving it. But the devil learned his lesson last time. He wasted too much time in the pocket before he offered Jack the deal. So he's not going to stay up in the tree for weeks. He tells Jack right away, "Listen, you got me again, but if you let me down this time, I promise I'll never bother you again for the rest of your life. You'll never be haunted by evil or bad luck. I'll never come to get your soul. And even when you do eventually die of old age, I still won't take your soul into hell." And that's a pretty incredible deal, especially for a con man, right? A guy who's spent his whole life lying and cheating. He's just guaranteed that he won't go to hell. So Jack happily agrees and takes the deal. Jack spends the rest of his days as just a total jerk. He goes around taking what he pleases, wandering from town to town, committing crimes and taking advantage of kind people. And eventually, as an old man, Jack's body finally gives out and he dies from old age. And as the spirit leaves his body, he kind of smirks to himself, remembering that he conned his way into heaven, right? He's excited for the paradise that's waiting for him. And as his soul ascends to the gates of heaven, the doorman just stares at him when he gets there. And Jack's like, "I'm ready to go to heaven now." And the doorman responds with, "What are you talking about? You're a terrible person. You're a criminal. There's no way you're getting in here." And the gates just stay shut. And there's nothing he can do because Jack had it wrong. He didn't con his way into heaven. He just conned his way out of hell. And there's no way he's going to con this angel to let him in. So he's got nowhere else to go. He's got no other choice. And he just kind of sheepishly makes his way down to hell. And he walks up to the fiery gates of hell and he says, hey, can I come in here after all? I've got nowhere else to go. And the demon at the gates isn't sure what to do. Jack's name is not on the list, and he's never really had a situation where somebody wanted to get into hell before. So he's got to go get his boss. So he goes and talks to the devil, and the devil comes out, and he sees Jack looking very sad and embarrassed. And the devil instantly feels sympathetic for Jack. He just can't stay mad at him. But he also...
Typical devil.
Yeah, he's such a forgiving guy.
So sympathetic.
But he also can't let Jack in. Deal with the devil is a binding deal. You can't break it. It's literally impossible for the devil to take Jack into hell. So Jack is lost. He's a soul without a home. He's doomed to just wander Earth as a lost spirit, cold and dark and totally alone. And as Jack slowly turns and walks away, just crushed and sad at the realization, the devil has an idea. He calls out to Jack and he tosses him a present, something he can use to keep himself warm and light his way as he spends eternity stuck between heaven and hell. And he gives Jack a glowing red-hot ember from the fires of hell. And Jack catches it in his hands, and it instantly starts to burn his ghost flesh, but he doesn't even care right now. He's too depressed to even worry about his burning hands, and he just kind of skulks off back to the surface of the earth. When he gets back to Earth, he finds himself sitting in a farmer's field, and he's just kind of a lonely spirit of an evil man. And he reaches over and he plucks a turnip out of the ground. He hollows it out with his knife and he cuts a little hole in it so he can place the red hot ember that the devil gave him inside, making like kind of a makeshift lantern to light his way and keep him warm without the ember burning his hands. And sitting there looking at his little turnip lantern, he feels very alone. So in a moment of just pure pathetic loneliness, he pulls out a knife and he carves a little face into his turnip. He makes him into a little turnip friend to keep him company.
Oh, I like that.
Castaway.
And the light from the hellfire inside shines through the turnip's little eyes and through his mouth. And slowly, Stingy Jack stands up and carrying his little turnip in front of him, he starts to wander through the night, sad and alone. And that's the origins of the jack-o'-lantern. It's the turnip of the ghost of Stingy Jack with the fires of hell lighting up its little face.
Oh.
The people of Ireland would carve their own turnips and put candles inside and put them out on All Hallows Eve as a way of scaring away other evil spirits and demons.
Yeah, everybody's scared of Jack.
Everyone's scared of Jack. He's the ultimate con man. He even tricked the devil. So if you're a lesser demon, you're not going to risk messing with Stingy Jack. So if you see his lantern sitting on somebody's porch, you're probably not gonna mess with that house.
Oh, that's Jack's house.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
We don't fuck with Jack's stuff.
Hey, it's Jack. Let's get out of here.
This house has Jack too.
we carve pumpkins, but it's a turnip, which is just as like it's Super Mario 2.
Totally Super Mario 2. You're right. The explanation for why we carve pumpkins is actually pretty mundane. Pumpkins don't grow in Ireland. They just used what they had, which were turnips. But when that tradition makes its way to America, Americans had a lot of pumpkins that grew here naturally, but we don't have a ton of turnips. So when people wanted to pick up that tradition, they found that carving pumpkins was actually a lot easier than carving a turnip anyway, because turnips are like a solid kind of potato thing, right? But a pumpkin's already hollow. All you have to do is scoop out those guts. So it's a lot easier to carve out a pumpkin than it is a turnip. So we just adopted the pumpkin as the lantern of Stingy Jack instead. And that's the origin of the Halloween jack-o'-lantern.
I feel like the devil not a bad guy in this story.
Not at all.
The devil just seems great. Yeah, he just wants love.
Yeah.
Like all of us, huh?
I get it.
How much does the spirit of Stingy Jack scare you? Give me a candy corn rating.
Okay, so I'm gonna reach in and go.
I had 21 in here.
Uh-huh.
I'm down to 15.
Hey, I'll take it.
I might just have 3 teeth now. I spit out.
Oh no.
Too much candy corn.
You know what? I ate a lot of candy corn before we started, and it gave me cavities.
Ooh.
Brush your teeth. Seriously, though, all the kids out there who are listening, brush your teeth.
Please brush your teeth.
Oh, God, I knocked my glasses off.
Oh God.
Here I am. Are you ready? Here I am.
Kev, what do you got? You got a story for us?
Was that?
Do you have a story for us?
I was supposed to have a story?
Can you make one up on the spot?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Hey, Joey and Roger, both of you.
Yeah.
What do you think the scariest monster is?
Are we talking about standard monster? Just standard monster?
I'm not going to limit you. Let your imagination run wild.
I think just their standard alien.
I would say maybe like a Blastoise.
Yeah, they're erratic in their behavior. They'll hit you with those vine whip, with the solar beam, with everything. They hit you with everything. What are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to proceed?
Basically, what you guys are telling me is that you're afraid of what you don't understand. Joey, you don't understand aliens because they represent by definition, something different. And Joey,
Yeah.
I mean, Roger, you don't understand Blastoise.
I just don't understand Pokemon because I've never played a Pokemon game.
Oh, okay.
So I find them all terrifying.
So it would be any of the pocket monsters.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one that I want to talk to you about, and maybe by the end of this, you'll have a new answer to that question. This week, I bring you the lore of the Changeling.
Oh, cool.
Have you heard of Changelings before?
I mean, I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about them.
I feel like the black part, the ling, was that a suffix? It makes me feel like it's a baby. Is it like a baby change, a little change?
Yeah, a little baby change.
I'm not going to reveal that, but I like that. They're pretty popular in entertainment. You might have heard of them from other stuff. They've been in the subjects of like books and movies, TV shows, video games, even in music. There's a fair amount of music that talks about them. They were on the show Supernatural and My Little Pony and that British show Merlin. And they were in games like StarCraft or Magic the Gathering or Fire Emblem Heroes. Angelina Jolie starred in a movie titled Changeling in 2008.
Weird.
Yeah, often the term changeling is synonymous with shapeshifter. And honestly, when I was first deciding to do this and I was looking into it, that's kind of what I thought they were. But they are something considerably more nefarious than that. Changelings are babies. Joey, you got it.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they really?
They're babies?
They're babies.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but they're not human babies. And it actually kind of changes what type of baby it is depending on where the legend originated. The most common accepted parent of changelings are fairies. But it's been said that they could be babies of trolls or elves, water spirits, even the devil, depending on where the legend comes from. There are deep roots of changeling lore in Germany, Scotland, England, Poland, Wales, kind of all the places you would think of when you think of like fairies and magic, pretty much. There are a lot of twists to legend, but the most common belief states that when you have a newborn baby, if you don't keep a close eye on it and protect it, a fairy might sneak into your home and trade with you. They'll take your baby and leave their own in its place. You're probably thinking, no problem. There's no way I would mistake my baby for a fairy baby, right?
Yeah.
But you'd be wrong. Fairies are mischievous creatures with a lot of magic. And when they trade the babies with you, they make it so that their baby looks just like yours. Or at least very close to what yours looks like.
There's snakes that do that.
There's birds that do that, actually.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It's called a cowbird.
Oh, neat. So they just sneak their eggs into somebody else's nest?
Yeah, they put their eggs in somebody else's nest and they come out and they're very
Just because
big.
they don't want to do the work?
Basically, yeah. Somebody else mothers the baby, and all their energy and food goes into raising a baby that's not even theirs.
Oh, that's great.
Evolutionarily, it's a killer plan. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I kind of want to give that a shot.
They come out very big, and so they kind of beat all the other birds at eating the food that the mother's regurgitating. So not only are they not supposed to be there, but they hog it all.
I'm a lot bigger than my sister. Do you think that's what happened to my parents?
You might be a changeling.
I might be a changeling.
Yeah.
Why do the fairies want to get rid of their babies though?
Well, there's a couple of different ways, a couple of different things that they think on that. Some of them think that humans are just really good at taking care of things, so it's considered kind of prestigious to have a human take care of your kid, so they switch it in. Also, there's much more like negative viewpoint on it, where the fairies want the human babies because, and these things vary also. They might need their kids to be raised with breast milk, and then if they steal the kid, then they now have a prisoner kid who they can then use in whatever way they need to. So they might take it for slave reasons. Not everybody believes that changelings are fairy babies, though. There are actually some kind of funny story twists to the lore that I wanted to talk about real quick. Some people think that changelings are actually elderly fairies, and so they've lived a long life and they want to be coddled by humans.
Gross, I hate that.
So they pose as babies and they live a good life until they die.
Nursing home.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Some people in Scotland and England think that changelings are actually full-grown male elves who just want to be suckled.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the adult baby thing.
That's like weird, like that's like the weird like
I
anime
hate
stuff,
that,
right?
Yeah.
It's very gross, but also very funny to me. Mainly because, you know how if you look at some babies, they look like middle-aged men?
Oh, totally. Yeah, they're just old
Oh,
men.
that's
Yuck.
funny.
Oh god, that makes me not want to have a baby at all.
I can't wait to be a baby eventually.
I got news for you. You're already there, Joey. Why'd you cry about it?
Will you take care of me if I do?
Yeah, come suckle. come get mother's milk.
No. So, if you have a changeling How do you know if you have one? If you can't tell from looking at it, fairies don't want their babies because they suck. If your baby suddenly has a change in temperament and it's constantly crying inconsolably, you might have a changeling. If your baby suddenly has an insatiable appetite that's going to eat you poor, you might have a changeling. If your baby starts misbehaving or developing strange social behaviors, you might have a changeling. If your baby is super smart for some reason, you might have a changeling. People also suspect children who are withdrawn or look slightly off or strange were probably changelings.
Oh no.
So that's kind of how you can tell if you've got one.
So it's any child that turns 2 or an ugly baby.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're all changelings. Yeah.
So now that you have identified your baby's actually a fairy baby, what do? You torture it, basically.
Oh no.
You beat it, you whip it,
Oh.
you throw it in the fire or the oven.
Oh my God. You have to be pretty confident it's a fairy baby, huh?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
terrible.
Jeez.
It's not gonna stand up in court.
Some people believe that if you toss a changeling into the fire, they'll shoot up the chimney and go get your baby for you.
It's like a reverse Santa.
Yeah.
Some people believe that.
Is that person you, Kevin?
No. Some think that if you mistreat the baby enough, the real fairy mother will come back and take them away from you. If you're a real scumbag and you're really looking to get the job done, you could cook them some eggs. But here's the twist. You leave some eggshells in there.
Oh, gross.
The changeling will be so dumbfounded by your incompetence that they will be forced to chastise you and reveal that they're much older than they seem.
That's a much safer route than throwing them in the fire.
Yeah.
Those are all real solutions to real changeling reports.
I love that.
This all seems like wacky high fantasy, but there are real historical records recounting these creatures. The records have surprising consistency, but when we look at these closely, it reveals a dark truth. With our modern understanding of medicine and technology, it's believed that these reports of changelings were likely just the sick and the disabled. Autism doesn't usually get diagnosed until childhood and can look like erratic changes in child's behavior or hyperintelligence. Birth defects and diseases can make people look physically different. In fact, fairies are said to have obsessive qualities like needing to count every grain of rice or speck of sugar if you spill it.
Huh.
It's theorized that this superstition came from some of the behaviors of those suspected to be changelings. Some mental disabilities manifest with hyper-focused obsessive behaviors similar to what we think fairies do. That's a real myth. If a fairy's after you and you need to distract it, spill some sugar, and they have to count it all.
Whoa. Huh. So the explanation is just anybody with a disability might have been an actual fairy, huh?
Yep.
I like that. That's kind of fun because that kind of changes it, right? Instead of a disabled person being disabled, they're just like a supernatural being.
That is
That's
a nice
fun.
way. I was thinking
Yeah, I
of
like
the
that.
opposite version of that, where it was an excuse to hurt a person who couldn't
That's
defend.
true because you're supposed to beat them and put eggshells in their eggs.
But let's just go with yours because that's way better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take it down a darker route because I still have more to do here.
Oh, okay.
So it's likely that we weren't directing our spite towards changelings and faefolk, but rather other humans who were in need of our compassion. So Joey and Roger, I ask again, what is the scariest monster?
Oh, it's man. It's
Oh,
humans.
it's man.
It was me the whole time.
I argue that it isn't fairies or changelings or jacks with spooky gourds. I argue that it's humans.
Yeah.
Humans torture and murder what they don't understand or what makes them uncomfortable. Humans create legends and beliefs to rationalize our selfish and sadistic behavior. Humans are what we should be afraid of.
Yeah.
Or elves looking for boob juice, one of the two. Yeah, so that's changelings.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's very good. There's candy corn spilling out my mouth, and it's a Milky Way, but it's twice the length, twice the length of a normal Milky Way, and they just flopped out of me because I'm so disgusted with humanity.
Yeah. One candy corn just purged its way out of my nipple somehow, Kevin.
Oh wow!
Can you imagine?
Was it like the full size candy corn, or was it like Play-Doh Fun Factory out as a spaghetti?
Yeah, it was a spaghetti.
If you guys could produce one thing from your breasts, what would it be?
Oh, dude, money.
Yeah. Just $100 bills.
Yeah.
It's got to be the best.
Yeah, I don't think I can beat that. Mine would probably be milk, I guess.
All right. Well.
So, Joe, you want to take us home?
Yeah. I'm going to talk to you guys about a terrible movie that came out in 1998 called Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County. And it's an alien movie, obviously. And when it came out, I believed it was real. So part of this is I need to come clean to my old friend Jeremy, who used to swap the VHS tape with me. Jeremy, if you're out there, I hope your life is going well. And I did actually believe that the movie was real.
Do you think your friend Jeremy thought it was real too?
We used to make fun of it, but honestly, I think that both of us were so scared that we found camaraderie in like laughing at it. So the whole thing is, I like scary things in real life. I think Halloween season's great. The stuff I'm afraid of is like, typical stuff that people are normally fine with, driving on winding roads or talking to strangers. But I'm not really afraid of anything supernatural except for aliens. So I think I'm a little justified in this. I'm hoping that maybe by the time I get to the story, get to the end of the story, you guys will sympathize with why I was afraid of this movie.
So you're saying the root of your fear in aliens comes from this movie?
Not necessarily because of it, but aliens have just always gotten my goat, man. I don't know why.
Even like E.T.?
Well, Mac and Me for sure. My brother used to hide the Mac and Me.
Mac and Me is so
VHS tape.
scary, though. Yeah,
So gross looking, yeah.
Terrifying.
But I mean, to this day, like I couldn't watch The Fourth Kind even when the commercial came on. I couldn't.
Fourth
couldn't
Kind
look
was
at it.
intense.
Yeah,
What about the Monstars from Space Jam?
Yeah.
I mean, I would be more comfortable if we stopped talking about that right now. I can only handle one alien story per day.
Okay.
Roger, do you have an irrational fear?
I mean, ghosts. Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one for sure. Aliens don't really scare me, but ghosts for sure. Yeah.
Ghosts scare me. I have a very deep-seated fear of the abominable snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Do you really?
Oh.
Yeah, I cannot watch that movie.
Wow. Is it rooted in a childhood thing?
I used to have nightmares. It was like a reoccurring nightmare. It was like an intro to a television show, and it would happen on repeat.
Oh man.
When I was younger. I just
That's
couldn't.
rough.
I don't know why he freaks me out so bad.
You should train. Do you still get the reoccurring nightmare as an adult?
No, I don't.
Oh, that'd be cool. You could train yourself to face him.
Yeah.
Fight the Donald Snowman.
Yeah.
I have something kind of like that. When I was a kid, do you guys know like the Steamboat Willie Mickey?
Yeah.
Like the original Mickey?
Yeah.
When I would see that, I would just flip my lid. I would just lose my shit because I thought it was Mickey's skeleton because he's all skinny and black and white. And I remember being terrified of that.
That's funny, man. That's a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, I like it now, but when I was a kid, no thanks.
Also, skeletons are probably like the least scary thing out there. I feel like
You think so?
I'm not afraid of bones at all.
It's just how do they stay connected though? They're like floating bones.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
That's the confusing part. But imagine you look out your window and there's a skeleton walking around. That's gonna scare you, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
What are you more scared of? You walk down the hall in the middle of the night. Do you see a skeleton at the end of the hall or an alien at the end of the hall?
Dude, an alien. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think alien.
I'm scared
I
right
feel
now
like-
just thinking about
I
that.
think a skeleton's worse.
I think skeleton would be like too hard to believe. I think
That's not
aliens feel real.
And there's
Yeah.
too many skeleton memes with trumpets and trumpets.
And Trump.
But I mean, what about the alien memes where they're wearing a jester hat and smoking a blunt? You know,
Yeah, if that was the way the aliens were in real life, then I wouldn't have a problem with
you just
them.
want to party with them.
I just wouldn't mind them, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's an actual spooky alien who's coming to, I don't know, suck my blood or whatever
Is that what they do?
That's-
There's no way of knowing. That's the whole point. Is I don't know. They're unpredictable.
Yeah. We really derailed your story. Sorry, Joe.
yeah. Sorry.
That's all right. So I think, well, I mean, this is starting a debate, and that's a good thing because part of this is that I want to convince everybody that it's okay that I believe this bad movie was real. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Long before the real footage of the paranormal activities, we had real found footage tapes of Blair Witch Project and spooked audiences across the country.
Can I jump in real fast?
Yeah.
Blair Witch Project's in Maryland. Do you guys know that?
Oh, that's your hometown, huh?
Yep.
Was it extra scary for you because of that?
Yeah, as I never left my house.
Still there.
How'd you get to California?
Yeah, I shipped myself in a box.
Oh, that's pretty
They
good.
had to move the house itself to California with
Yeah.
people in it.
Well, I'm gonna spook you one more.
Oh,
The UPS that's over there, it's run by witches. You had a bunch of witch hands all over your box.
Oh,
I can't believe they didn't
Yuck.
get you. How'd you make it out of there alive?
they must have not known.
must have been very quiet.
But yeah, the Blair Witch Project, it spooked audiences across the country, and that's because most people had never seen allegedly leaked non-scripted format movies in theaters before. But even before Blair Witch, audiences being tricked into believing that rare and terrifying phenomena has a rich history. The major example that's ringing in most of our minds is, of course, H.G. Wells' 1898 short story, The War of the Worlds, which was read aloud by Orson Welles on the evening of October 30th in 1938. And for anyone who's unaware about what happened on that day, during this reading of the story about aliens invading and taking over the Earth one city at a time, widespread panic kind of spread amongst the listeners who actually believed that it was real, and the fallout was kind of gnarly. While I wasn't around for that alien story, today I want to share with you something from my childhood that had a similar tone of reaction. In 1998, I saw a TV movie hyped for its rare one-time release and realism. Commercials showcased shadowed human figures nervously corroborating the accounts of the tales under veiled shadows and modulated voices, kind of like a cop's interview. This was known as Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County. So, similar to World of Worlds, in 1998, when I was in junior high, a local network called UPN released a new version of the original 1988 story of the McPherson tapes. It was a re-adaptation for TV because the original one was allegedly destroyed in a warehouse fire before widespread release.
So the one that you watched is a reboot of an older video that never came out. Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Yeah, you got
Okay.
it. The movie that I'm going to talk about, it came out in 1998, and it was essentially a reboot of a lost tape of a movie that was written in 1988 that was called the McPherson tapes. We're going to be talking about the one that I saw when I was younger, and it also is supposed to be detailing a specific night of the same McPherson family. When it was released, it was not supposed to be a dramatization. They actually marketed it as a found footage tape that they somehow were able to finagle past the TV people, and they made no real effort to make any claim that it was actually a re-recording or a re-adaptation of an old film. The old version, though, I did see some alleged clips of it. I don't know if they're real or not, and that's kind of debated on the internet. But the older one is kind of harsh. There's like parts where like there's just lots of yelling, and there's just a dad, he's yelling "kill the motherfucker," and he's shooting shotguns out in the air. And
On
there's
TV?
This is the original version.
That's the original one?
Yeah, so this is the original one, and it's in front of like a child and an old lady, and they're just yelling and yelling and yelling and cursing a bunch. But the one that we saw, it's frantic, but of course it was made for TV, so it's not as bad. So let's go ahead and talk about the incident in Lake County, Minnesota. The show opens up with an ominous voiceover like that of Unsolved Mysteries. The narrator describes what we're about to see. It's our VHS video camera operator, Tommy McPherson, a teenager, reluctantly recounting what appears to be the end of the night. He doesn't want to die. He's trying to keep collected. He looks kind of like a hybrid Frodo Baggins and Robin Williams. But in the spirit of suspense, let's keep our videographer behind the camera for right now. As the intro continues, we see static flicker in and out. And our narrator tells us with secret military enhancement, we can sift through the salt and pepper fuzz to see things previously never seen by the public. Cue foggy laser beam clip with a frame rate of 6 and some professional news reporters, hypnotists, nuclear physicists, and a video special effects editor that looks like George Michael, whose name is Frederick Pearl. He's just sitting in front of his CRT monitor. So after our viewer discretion warning, the video is warmly welcomed by Tommy close up to the camera, getting the settings all locked away. The film is running. We hear a child's rendition of Chopsticks on the family piano, and another family member joking and prodding Tommy's tech skills. So he picks it up now, and like the game Doom, we're in first person now. We're seeing what Tommy is seeing as he's carrying around his big lumpy camcorder. So it's Thanksgiving dinner. His mom is drinking wine, his brother is teasing, and then the power goes out, and the camera fizzes as we are suddenly several minutes later at a fried fuse box. This becomes fairly regular for this video. Camera fuzzes, comes back, and a length of time has passed. This time, it's an hour and 15 minutes later. We hear what appears to be a shotgun in the distance. Tommy and Brian argue as they follow their older brother, who says one of them needs to tell mom when it's happening. The transformer seems to be frying out at the neighbor's farmhouse. As they walk through the dark, bickering, Tommy catches what appears to be a large, strange object reflecting electrical shots of the downed transformer. They cautiously approach. The static fuzzes in and out as Tommy frantically suggests it's a UFO. Time is passing between static pulses. Through green-toned VHS tape, they notice two figures now. The oldest sibling, Kurt, tells them to shut up as Brian and Tommy struggle to keep quiet. They see figures. Grays with black suits. They're cutting open a dead cow with what appears to be red laser beam fingers on the neighboring farm. But they hear the boys. One raises his head, and then his hands, and then he shoots his laser fingers directly at Brian.
Oh no.
Yeah, they frantically run back home a quarter mile back or so to the safety of the house.
Is Brian okay?
His hand is burning, so
Oh no!
Oh shit.
yeah, so they're gonna bandage him up and stuff. But it is also it's 7:26 p.m. on the camera at this point. So I mean, at 7:26, if I was a kid, I was playing hide and go seek or playing Minecraft, but it's pitch black outside, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a pretty early alien.
It's 7:04 right now.
It is pretty dark out. There could be an alien outside. I wouldn't know it.
And it is October. Yeah. Good point. I
Yeah.
take it back. All right. There's aliens outside, 100%.
Oh no. As long as it's not a skeleton, I'm cool.
It's weird. I can see one right now. He seems to have a jester hat on and he's smoking something. I'm going to go invite him in.
Yeah. I want to party with that guy.
All right. So the next time the camera fuzzes in and out, and I know this seems erratic, but that's just how the movie's made. It's 7:40 p.m. now. And there's a super high-pitched, hard-to-listen-to sound playing. Everybody's struggling to cover their ears. They're trying to cover the child's ears. They feel tormented. They're screaming. They're trapped. And then we get fuzzed out again. At 8:15 p.m., they acknowledge that the phones are out. Kurt tapes a light to his shotgun because he's the one who's leading the charge.
What was that? Who's that guy?
Joey said charge weird.
Charge.
That's a secret joke for anyone who likes Longmont Potion Castle.
Oh.
Kurt tapes the light to the shotgun because he's the one who's leading the charge. Kurt isn't playing games. He's level-headed, he's ready to handle the situation, and against his will, he accepts that Tommy is going to follow him as he grabs his mother's keys to just get the truck. He doesn't want to wait around. He's going to grab it, he's going to grab his friends, he's going to get his family and get out of there. He tells Tommy to keep his eyes open, but Tommy, in first person, aims the camera directly down to let us know that he's peed his pants. Tommy yells.
Does he film it?
He's filming it. It's just directly looking down. Look, hey, you know what? Stand up and look down right now. That's what we see. It's just you just see his pants, and it's it's the longest steady shot of the entire movie. So, anyway, Tommy yells, "I peed my pants. What's up with that?" And then a straight-faced, reassuring Kurt repeats, "It's fine. It's fine." And he readies his gun despite the distraction. They make it to the car. Kurt tries to start the pickup, but the post-production fuzz trickles in and out, showing that the engine's fried. It's smoking, fuzz out, fuzz in, fuzz out, fuzz in. Then Kurt and Pee Pants Tommy are now back inside the house. The family is frantic and they're yelling all sorts of who, what sits, and what have yous. And Tommy gets an image of a leg going through the second-story window. And now there's an alien in the house.
Uh-oh.
We cut away to an interview now with Frederick Pearl, video effects editor, per the title card says, and he tells us, that breakup might be caused by a strong magnetic field, basically rearranging the digital information on the tape.
Checks out.
So apparently this guy, he must know like some crazy science or something for a video effects edit. Anyway, I thought that was very strange. It is 8:33 now. Accompanied by high-pitched drones, Kurt leads the way as Tommy films him enter the attic full of pretty much nothing. We see a box of carrots and just darkness. And then
What? Box of carrots in the attic?
Yeah, there's just a box of carrots in the attic. I
I think those are like granddaddy's carrots that they're keeping up there.
They're what that's called?
Heirloom carrots?
Heirloom carrots, which I think that's just a term for a type of carrot you still eat, but also an heirloom is like a thing
you pass down from generation to generation. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should start.
Yeah, let's collect some carrots and give it to our kids' kids.
Like wine and whiskey ages really well. Maybe carrots do.
Guys, I don't think that's gonna work.
I'm gonna try it, and then my grandkids are gonna be filthy rich. Yeah. So they're upstairs. They're looking through the attic. And it's really, really dark. And then we hear a little zzz, and there's an alien up there and starts zapping them with the finger.
Which finger does he use, Joey?
It's the sixth finger.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh my God.
That's not like me at all.
Yeah, we can't understand them. There's no way to predict their moves at this point. So anyway, as soon as the laser finger's firing up, Kurt just fires on the guy and he blasts him and then fuzzes out. So now we are still upstairs. The family's kind of there. The younger sister, who's like 6, she just calmly says, we need to go downstairs now. And it's in a very rapid and strange manner. So the camera's now registering. It's 9:09 p.m. They actually are moving the alien body. Everyone's bleeding from their noses. It's yelling. High-pitched noises are ringing out. We hear someone yell, we got to get out of here. And once again, hear us, Kurt. He, A, isn't bleeding at all. B, is calming everybody down. And then a side note, I noticed that only the women are bleeding out of their noses, which that's never addressed, which is strange.
Huh.
Maybe the dudes were really hot.
They're too sexy to bleed from their noses.
Oh no, they're so hot that the girls bleed from their nose.
I would love to be so attracted to somebody that I bleeded at all. That'd be interesting.
That's a real Japanese thing.
Is it
Japanese
really?
people think, like, if you ever see an anime and the characters bleeding from the nose, they're intensely attracted to something.
Oh, that's interesting.
wild.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's
weird.
another little mini
Man.
story hole.
I'm glad that's not a real thing.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Man, I'd be so embarrassed because everybody would see how attracted I was to everyone I know.
Yeah.
Just bleeding, I'm bleeding. We're going to cut away to an interview with literally the worst actor of the movie. It's an alleged abductee who's weighing in with her own experiences. Her name is Jean Sutton, and there's a wild panning shot as she simply says, "The nosebleeds mean they've already been abducted because their nasal implants are reacting to the visitors." And it's pretty much the same acting as the guy who pretends to be David Blaine on the internet. Do you guys remember that early internet?
Yeah.
video?
That's very good
So-
with the Cheez-Its.
Yeah, she is exactly him, but acting like trying to be a real actor. So
So the
really
women
fun.
already got abducted before then, huh?
Seems like it, but not Kurt, because Kurt's the real hero of the story.
Is he the one that was leading the charge? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So eventually, we're back. We're watching the tapes again. We're back from whatever that weird pre-commercial break interview was, and we see wacky orbs of light enter the house randomly. They appear to knock out one of the guests because it just flies into him, and then we see some more static phase in and out
Hey,
until.
how good are the effects in this video? Is it like 1990s orbs of light zooming around?
Kind of, but they actually do some really good job with like lens flaring and stuff, which is neat.
Really?
It's convincing because it was done like. So imagine this: you're watching on a 1997 TV, which is not like HD,
Oh,
you
true.
know,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's supposed to be filmed on a camcorder, so it has all those weird little fuzzy lines.
So it's super low res. Yeah.
So super low
Okay.
res. The degradation of the quality of the film makes it pretty legit. I think it's actually not that bad, although you can very much tell like the tracking technology wasn't quite there when they had the flying orbs and the shaky camera. So, but it's not bad. It's better than, we'll say, Langoliers, if you've ever seen that.
Oh, worst. That's the
Yeah.
worst. Yeah.
For context, it's better than Langoliers. Also, that movie ends with a freeze frame jump high five for real, which is really ridiculous. The sporadic static phases in and out until Kurt leads the charge with two other older family members. They take the shotguns. Kurt tells Tommy to protect everyone else, even though they're taking all of the guns. And then now it's 10:46, and we hear a barrage of wild shotgun fire and yelling outside. The power goes on again, off again. It's accompanied by repeated 1990s sound effects and frantic acting that's not terrible. The mom's drinking wine and unbuttoning her top.
Dang.
Everybody feels too hot, and the power's going on and off. But then Tommy says, the power isn't really on. And then the youngest little girl in like the interim becomes like a weird psychiatrist and analyzes the situation. So she just starts offering calm solutions and weird parental comfort. As we cut back, the family all starts to feel burning, like insect burns, as their implants start sizzling.
Insect bites? Insect burns?
They have like they're all like feeling their necks and saying, "Oh, it's like I feel like I got bit." Like
Okay, like an
yeah.
insect bite. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. One by one, the family starts freaking out and splitting off out of fear for their own survival. Views of red burning beams, whispers, sizzles in the distance. Everything's impossible to follow in this movie at this point. So my description is 100% on, it's just erratic. They scramble to retreat into the house, the phone rings, the TV fuzzes, the camera fades in and out, electrical appliances all go on at one point, including the most caveman of all appliances, the gas stove somehow.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. We don't exactly see what's happening at all to the remaining women or children of the McPherson household, but in a last-ditch effort, Tommy hides in the bathroom to record a nervous but clear declaration of what's going on. Aliens, abduction, fear. He's the last one. He's alone upstairs, so he heads out of the bathroom into what appears to be a kid's room at 11:28, just wishing to see his dad one more time. Aided only by the light of the camcorder, we see a few quick frames of a 4-foot alien who is hiding behind the door. So as he opens it and closes it behind him.
Classic prank.
Classic alien prank. That's actually in my script right here. Classic alien prank. The lights go off and it gets kind of actually pretty eerie. There's a weird partially lit silhouette as the alien kind of comes closer and closer. and he's coming into focus, and you can see a little bit of his face lit up. He picks up the camera from frozen Tommy's body and turns it on Tommy, who's just like dead frozen mid-movement, mid-yell. And that's pretty eerie, that last little shot. That's kind of it. That's where the end of the movie goes. There's a couple other things they do for the special. They talk about the military tech where they unscrambled the alleged fuzz. And it's just them like debating and looking at the alien body. It doesn't do anything special.
So as a kid, you thought that this was legitimate footage. You were like, you just watched people get murdered by aliens.
Pretty much, yeah. I was like, I can't believe they were allowed to leak this. And they did such a good job of hamming it up and being like, we have strict permission to only show this one time on TV. It's going to happen. After this, we can never do it again. The whatever and I don't know the terms. What is it? The Food and Drug Administration can't. They can't stop it. I will say this though. There was one thing that made me convinced that this was all okay and I wasn't going to get abducted. So the main character who's behind the camera, Tommy, he was totally a curly-haired alien himself in a TV show called Space Cases.
Wait, so you knew he was an actor?
Yeah, I was like, that's got to be the same guy. But there was no, I can't go on IMDb when I was in 7th grade.
That's true, yeah.
And so I was just like, that has to be the same guy, which is like this random-ass actor with curly-ass ears. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I knew it was you all along.
Curly ears?
Yeah, he has like really, imagine okay, you're rolling some Play-Doh and you have about 2 feet of it in a long, skinny spaghetti kind of like, and then you just curled it up into like a cinnamon bun kind of swirl. That's what his ears look like, and he had a curly mullet. But I was like, that's him. That's the guy from Space Cases that no one else is going to remember. No one knows what that show is. Anyway, so that was the only reason that I was able to sleep at night. That's pretty much it. Me, Jeremy, if you're out there, if you have the copy of the VHS tape, I'd like it back. So, I don't know.
I am straight up choking on candy corn right now.
Yeah.
I am head to toe candy corn. Toe to tip.
I can send an alien over and we can like use a little red laser beam to cut a hole in the middle like a lifesaver.
Yeah, let some of these corns out.
Yeah.
I have 1 candy corn left. Do you think I could just eat it?
Yeah.
Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. I've been dying to get into this corn.
Surprise, I haunted that. That one's haunted.
No.
Oh, no. Now it's in you.
All right. Well, it was a delight getting scared again with you guys.
Yeah, I loved it. It's so nice being out here by the fire, huh?
Yeah. Very warm.
Kevin, you still cold over there?
I'm feeling a little bit warm and fuzzy at this point. I think it was your wonderful storytelling that brought it all together for me.
Yeah.
It's also really cool that all of our woodland friends joined us around here. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Kevin, we have to tell them that that's a rock.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Hey. Miracles all around.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to give us a nice little like on the iTunes thing, give us a star or a thumbs up or a check mark.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up on iTunes if you would. Yeah, that means a lot to us.
Mm-hmm. If you want to contact us on Instagram, you can find us at Storyhole Podcast on there, and that would be cool.
And our email address is storyholepodcast@gmail.com if you want to send us a message.
Yeah, send us some ideas for stories. Cool. I'd love to hear what you guys think and research one of those.
Also, if you want to let us know if you like this format where we're doing like three mini stories.
Yeah, we're thinking about maybe keeping this up, huh?
Yeah.
It's like This Ascarican Life. Get it? Because it has.
Oh, very good.
Oh, let's try. That sounds weird. This Ascare again. Ascare again. This 3 scares again.
This asparagus.
This asparagus life.
I'm sorry. I'm just too scared to make good jokes anymore. All right. Well, thanks everyone.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Good luck.